Hi there movie fans, and welcome to another edition of Movies. Today we're worming our way through Dune Part Two, Denis Villeneuve's new incredible offering in his recreation of Frank Herbert's series of books on which this and the first movie in this franchise, Dune, is based. It's been on general release now for a while, and I've seen it twice just to check that the mind-blowing experience the first time around wasn't a one-off. It assuredly wasn't. But for you at the back who hasn't seen it, here are some quick takes to help you make up your mind. Do I need to have seen the first film? Not necessarily, but really, why wouldn't you have done? And more to the point, where have you been? The best advice, even if you have seen part 1 before, is to watch it again before trekking out to catch part 2, just to catch up with the cast of characters, most of whom reappear in part 2, and to remind yourself of where part 1 ended. For part 2 takes up the story at exactly the same place. Paul Atreides and his mother, Lady Jessica, now amongst the Fremen tribesmen, transporting the Fremen warrior slain by Paul through the deep desert back to the Fremen's sietch or village. Do I need to have read the books? Again, not necessarily, but it does help provide context and background as to what is going on in the movie, and it is always interesting to see where the director might depart from the source material, as here, where Villeneuve does cull one significant character from the script. Stephen McKinley Henderson's Thufir Hawat isn't shown captured, tortured and forced to assist the Harkonnen to locate Paul Atreides and wipe out the Fremen. Villeneuve also tinkers with some character timelines as well as who did what and when, but it's no matter unless you've read the books, and even then you'd have to be quite precious to moan about the way Villeneuve has actually improved Frank Herbert's novels, telling a tighter, more grounded story and elevating the battle scenes and other signature set pieces which Herbert treated in the books with some disinterest, preferring instead to concentrate on the mental capabilities of his characters, their motivations and their intrigues. What's the score like? It's Oscar material. Another outing for Hans Zimmer, our greatest living composer, who draws on Eastern mysticism, Maurice Jarre's work on Lawrence of Arabia, the drums of a million-strong marching band, and those mind and well-being CDs you get in New Age shops to create a soundscape in equal parts ominous and uplifting to elevate part 2 to the next level. And the soundtrack stands on its own feet. You can listen to it on its own. It is magisterial. Zimmer is fundamental to this franchise. Budget well spent. This is how you spend $190 million, every cent accounted for, to produce an immersive movie experience that is complete in every department, from costume to characters, script, sound, music and special effects. Is it a parade of stars dialing it in, or performances for the ages? The beauty of this film lies not just in the action sequences and special effects, and the attention to detail in the worlds created by Villeneuve, but also in the screen time each actor is given to invest their character with rounded, believable personalities. They are the story, not submerged by it. And that cast remains spectacular. Timothée Chalamet returns as Paul Atreides, fighting the inevitability of his destiny as Dune Messiah, filtering some of the acting chops he showed in his outing as Henry V in The King, all the while observed by Javier Bardem's Stilgar, and sure he is witnessing the coming of the Lisan al-Gaib, but wanting to believe it all the same. Rebecca Ferguson also returns as Lady Jessica, still Paul's mother and a sister of the Bene Gesserit, but on her own credible journey through this series, here becoming the Fremen's reverend mother through drinking poisoned worm piss in the world's most lethal initiation ceremony. Charlotte Rampling's Gaius Helen is still playing the long game with her timeless intrigues. Josh Brolin is again all gritted teeth and warrior purpose as Gurney Halleck, and Zendaya returns as Chani, more than just a romantic interest, playing her role as guerrilla fighter and reluctant, then seemingly jilted lover with the complexity it deserves. Any cracks in the armour? None, apart from one minor quibble. Austin Butler's psychotic Fade Rotha Harkonnen has been rightly applauded by critics and audiences alike, but his elevation has to some degree eclipsed Dave Bautista's Rabban Harkonnen and Stellan Skarsgård Baron Harkonnen, who this time no longer carried that aura of dread and threat through their screen appearances. It feels like they are there as stepping stones to Fade Rotha's ambition, in Rabban's case quite literally. But perhaps that is as intended, and at least they got parts, unlike poor Stephen McKinley Henderson. Grand spectacle or cheesy green screen. Take about Greg Fraser, who has created superbly rendered and believable other worlds, whether it is the sand and terracotta of Arrakis, where the blues of Fremen eyes stand out like the brightest sapphires, to the crisp black and whites of the Harkonnen homeworld. This is award-level cinematography of the highest calibre. Part 3 on the horizon? Well, if you invite the likes of Florence Pugh as Princess Irulan, Leah Seydoux as Lady Margot Fenring, and Christopher Walken as the Emperor Shaddam, you'd expect their turn for more than the chance to wear some great costumes and walk away a la Marlon Brando in Superman with a nice tidy paycheck for a couple of minutes' work. They have surely signed on with the prospect that Part 3 will give them bigger parts to get their teeth into, Princess Irulan in particular having quite a say in the intrigues in Dune Messiah, which represents the third book in Herbert's 6-book series, and is the likely point where Villeneuve will bring his own trilogy to an end. Part 3 has to happen at some point. This is not a franchise built on the success of preceding movies, and we need to know whether Paul's fears of his becoming the long-trailed Fremen Messiah are realised. Greatest sci-fi ever? This is too early to tell, of course, as you'd need, I think, to see Part 3 to make any final judgment, but it is certainly on its way to becoming the greatest sci-fi franchise ever, yes, better than Star Wars, and there is in each of the Dune films so far produced the usual ingredients that make the very best sci-fi films stand out. Believable world creation, jaw-dropping set pieces, special effects that don't show the join, strong characters displaying wells of human emotion, a robust script, in this case with all its biblical references, one as old as time, and enough spectacle to make you want to watch it again and again. Although it is still a new kid on the block, Dune is here to stay. So the score, a deserved 10 out of 10. It's that good. Mind made up? Well, we certainly hope so, and we thank you for watching. Please subscribe to our channel so I can retire from the day job. Any thoughts on this review or of the movie generally, please leave a comment below. Otherwise, do look out for more movie reviews soon.